Hey taxpayers, it's Tiffany Gonzalez CPA here, founder and CEO of Accounting to Scale. And today I want to talk to you about my 3 favorite Vanguard funds. So I need to start this video off with a few disclaimers. This video is not investment advice. I repeat, this video is not investment advice. You should always contact and consult with your CPA and your financial advisor before choosing investments that work for you. Next, if you're confused about or wondering what mutual funds and index funds even are, I've made a video just for you. Click right here to watch that video first. Now, let's talk about Vanguard. Why do I love Vanguard so much? Vanguard is the only mutually owned mutual fund in the world, which basically means that the way that it's structured has no conflict of interest. At other companies like Charles Schwab and T. Rowe Price, these companies are publicly traded. They are on the stock market. They have shareholders, and those shareholders want to make money. They want to make profits. They want to receive dividends. They want their stock to go up. Who do you think pays for that? You and I, the customers of those brokerage accounts. So by definition, there's a bit of a conflict of interest between the people that are investing in the brokerage and the people that own the stock of the brokerage. Now, besides the amazing model that Vanguard has, you also have super low cost funds. And when you're picking a fund, you want to make sure that you pick a low cost fund because that eats into any kind of profits or returns you make. Vanguard also has $0 fees on commissions and trades when you purchase Vanguard Mutual Funds and index funds and ETFs. Does this mean the company is perfect? No. There have been some complaints that because the funds are so low cost, they've invested very little into the actual web interface. And so many people describe it as being clunky and outdated. There's also been complaints about customer service when you call the 1-800. Either there's not enough agents or long hold times. In the end, you really have to analyze what brokerage works best for you and what mutual funds work best for you. I also want to disclaim that I'm not being sponsored in this video by Vanguard, although I wish I was. Vanguard, call me. Okay, with all that said, let's get started with my 3 favorite funds. Fund number 1 is the Vanguard Total Stock Market Index Fund. The symbol is VTSAX, and the minimum investment is $3,000. This fund tracks the performance and invests in 100% of the US stock market. This amazing fund allows for amazing diversification because it's such a large blend. What this means is you're not going to experience the volatility that a single stock has. The expense ratio of this fund, which is basically how much you'll pay in fees, is 0.04%, which is amazing. As of April 30th, the top 10 holdings of this fund were Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, Tesla, Berkshire Hathaway, JP Morgan, Johnson & Johnson, and Visa. My second favorite fund is the Vanguard 500 Index Fund Admiral Shares. Stock symbol is VFIAX, and the minimum investment is $3,000. This fund also has a really low expense ratio of 0.04%. The S&P 500 includes the stock of all of the largest 500 US companies. And again, because there's such amazing diversification in this fund, you're going to see that you have a low volatility. 5-year annualized returns as of today were approximately 16.27%. That's pretty great. As of April 30th, its top 10 holdings were actually the same top 10 holdings of the first fund I described, VTSAX. The difference is that this fund invests 28% of their investment in these top 10 versus the total stock market fund only invests 22% of its fund in those top 10 holdings. So to summarize what this basically means is the S&P 500 index fund is going to invest more heavily into these large companies than the total stock market fund. So it's a little less blended than the total stock market fund, but it still has a really great blend. And my third favorite fund is the Vanguard US Growth Fund. The ticker is VWUSX. The minimum investment in this fund is $3,000 and the expense ratio is 0.38%. Now, that's a lot more expensive than Fund 1 and 2, but because it's still under 1%, it's still a really great expense ratio. This fund is more focused on the US companies that are growing, that are in growth stages. So when you think about growth stocks versus value stocks, this fund is investing primarily in growth stock companies. What this also means is that this fund is less diversified. While it's still a great blend of companies, there's a lot more risk in this fund. Typically, growth companies are more risky than value companies because there's a likelihood that they might not actually grow. With that said, one of the growth companies could take off and the stock price of this fund could actually rise pretty significantly. I feel confident investing in a fund like this even though there's more risk because of my time horizon. You see, I have about 30 years before I retire and start needing to tap into these funds. And so I can suffer or risk a few years of losses because I have 30 years to recover. This fund has 40% of its holdings in tech stock and 20% of its holding in consumer discretionary stock, and the remaining 40% in other items. Its top 10 holdings as of April 30th were Amazon, Apple, Microsoft, Google, Shopify, and Tesla, Facebook, MasterCard, Netflix, and Nvidia. I actually did an analysis of those 3 funds within Vanguard, which is a really cool feature that allows you to compare different funds against each other. And over the span of a 10-year history, 2011 to 2021, I would have earned tens of thousands of dollars more in the US Growth Fund, fund number 3, had I invested primarily and only in that fund. However, like we've talked about, that fund also has more risk. And so that's why it's so important to diversify. Okay, enough about me. Let's talk about you. What's your favorite fund to invest in? Please leave it in the comments below. We love hearing from you. Hit the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook at Accounting to Scale. Until the next video, your favorite CPA, Tiffany Gonzalez.